Mitakuyepi. Hello everyone. In this video, I would like to talk about when you ask the question something like, what kind of, and then something something. For example, like, what kind of candy do you like to eat? Or what kind of songs do you like to sing? Do you see what I mean? This what kind of. And I'm going to put a little dialogue on the screen. Look at the English. In this example, we're going to ask two questions, and they're almost the same. Look at the English. You see where it says, what kind of music do you like? And the answer, I really like polka music. And the second one is it's the same question, but adding a little bit more to it. And you see the question is, what kind of music do you like to dance to? And the answer, I really like to dance to polka music. So when we are asking these kind of questions, we're going to use something called taku-cha. You see, I had a pause between the two words because whatever it is that you're asking about, that's what you put in between the word daku and cha. So we are talking about music in this question. What kind of music do you like? Well, there are several words for music in Lakota language, but I'm going to choose this one that you see, wo oloa. So the first three words are daku wo oloa cha. So this already is saying, what kind of music? You see? And then the next word, washtea laka. This means you like. And in this course, we are talking the Tioshpai way. And in that way, men use he when they ask questions, because in these situations, they are like among family, friends. The situation is not formal, or sometimes they're meeting somebody new and they want to extend friendship to that person. Then a man will say he when he asks him a question. So whenever somebody says, yeah, men are supposed to say huo and women are supposed to say he, that's correct, but only to a degree. Men say huo only in formal situations, serious situations, or when they're meeting somebody and they're not too sure what kind of person that is, they're kind of skeptical. Maybe that person is suspicious. His behavior is suspicious. In those situations, a man will say huo when he asks questions. But this group, we are among friends. We are like a tioshpae. So men will be saying he when asking questions. So if anybody says that, well, when a man says he in his questions, he's talking like a woman, that's not true. That is absolutely incorrect. When somebody talks like that, they're not a fluent speaker. Because in Lakota language and culture and spirituality, we are not dogmatic. There's always going to be exceptions to the rules. Rules are important, but sometimes there are exceptions. And this is the Tioshpai way, okay? So that's why we're only going to be using he in asking questions. And another thing I want to say is that however you hear me pronounce a word or a sentence, try to say it the same way that I do, because I'm teaching you the language as well. So let's get back to this dialogue. Let's go through each word, okay, in the first sentence or question. Daku means what? Repeat after me, please. Daku. Good. Wo oloa means music. Whenever you see an apostrophe between two letters, that means don't make a sound at that point. So listen again to how I say that word. Wo oloa. See, there's a space there. So that's what the apostrophe means. Repeat after me, please. Wo oloa. Very good. Okay, next word. Cha. This means so or therefore. Repeat after me, please. Cha. Good. Now, when cha is used with daku, cha kind of changes things a little bit. When you have daku and cha, it's kind of like, what kind of, as I said earlier, yeah? What kind of something? So, even though cha means so or therefore, when it's used with daku, it means something different. Those two words together are like, what kind of? And so, whatever it is you're asking about, like in this case, music, we put that word between daku and cha. So that's why we get daku wo oloa cha. What kind of music? So that's how that works. So if you were asking about food, what kind of food? The word for food is woyute. So you would put woyute where you see wo oloa. So you would get the expression daku woyute cha. See, that's what kind of food. Okay, so the next word, washtea laka. This means you like. You see the ya in red? That is you in English. So repeat after me, please. Washtea laka. Very good. Then the vocal question mark sound. He. Repeat after me, please. He. Good. Okay, so now we asked the question, what kind of music do you like? And the example here, the answer is, I really like polka music. So you see the underlines in these sentences and questions. They correspond to each other in Lakota and English, okay? So like, again, look at that top first sentence. You see the word wo oloa, it has an underline on there. And in the English, you see the word music has the underline there too. So that's how they correspond to each other. Okay, they're the same word. One's in Lakota and one's in English. So what if you want to ask about what kind of cars, then you put the word for car where that underline is. Okay, so that would be iechink ianka. That's the word for car. So if you want to say what kind of car, then you would say daku iechink ianka cha. You see what I mean? That's how that works. Okay, so now we're going to answer that. And where it says polka owo oloa, this is polka music. Like if you like country music, then you could say country wo oloa. You would put it there. If you want to say rock and roll, you would say rock and roll wo oloa. You would say, and those things that are not from our culture, it's better to keep them in English, okay? Because if you say rock and roll in Lakota to a fluent speaker, it's not going to make sense to literally trans a rock and a roll. Yeah. Try it. Rock is iha, And roll, let's use the kind that's made out of bread. Yeah, what you eat, which would basically be a huyapi. Yeah, so, and the word for and is na. So if you say, iya na, iya na a huyapi, it doesn't even make sense. So say it in English. Yeah, so hip hop wo oloa ki. Yeah, you don't have to say the actual thing in Lakota because in English it's different. So you want to keep the English when we're talking about things like this, okay? So let's go back to the sentence here. Polka is a type of music, really good, and probably the best style of music in the world. And I like it. I like all kinds of music. Yeah, for me, it's the songs that are important and not necessarily the styles. But for this example, we're using polka. So, polka wo oloa. That would be polka music. Repeat after me, please. Polka wo oloa. Good. Gi means the. Repeat after me, please. Gi. Good. Lila means really or very. Repeat after me, please. Lila. Good. And then we have washte wa lake. This means I like. Repeat after me, please. Washte wa lake. Good. And you see that wa in the middle, that's red, that is I. And you see in the English, I is also colored red. Okay, so that's how you would do that. So if I ask you, Daku wo oloa cha wa shtea lakahe, and you like heavy metal, don't say mazatke. Mazatke wo oloa. In Lakota, it's just hilarious, yeah? Just say heavy metal. Excuse me. So you would say, heavy metal wo oloa ki lila wa shdewa lake. You see how that works? So that's how you would say that. Okay? All right. So let's say each sentence. Okay, we're just going to talk about those first two. All right? So repeat after me, please. Daku wo oloa cha wa shtea lakahe. Very good. Now let's say the answer. Polka wo oloa ki lila wa shdewa lake. Very good. So now let's look at the next pair of sentences. It starts almost the same, but now we're adding something to it. Yeah, now we're saying, what kind of music do you like to dance to? And the answer, I really like to dance to polka music. So this is what we're going to be saying. So we look at the words, and it's almost the same as the first sentence, except we add one word, and that's wayachi. This means you dance. You see the ya in red? That is you. And you see in the English, the U is also red. Okay? Wayachi. You dance. Repeat after me, please. Wayachi. Very good. Okay, so let's jump to the answer. Again, it's almost the same. It's just that we're adding one word. Yeah, look at the person two, the first one, and last sentence, they're almost the same. But we're just adding one word. And that word is wawachi. That means I dance. Notice that the wa in the middle is red. And it also is the same I in English, okay? Because we have two conjugations here. Wawachi, I dance, and washtewalake, I like. In Lakota, you conjugate every verb in the sentence. In English, you don't do that, yeah? You say, I really like to dance. There's only one subject there. But in Lakota, you don't say that, yeah? You're saying, I really dance, is what you're saying in Lakota, but it makes sense in the Lakota perspective. So the word, wawachi, I dance. Repeat after me, please. Wawachi. Okay, very good. And now let's learn to say the sentences. Repeat after me, please. Daku wo oloa cha wayachi washtea la gahe. Very good. And then the answer. Repeat after me, please. Poka wo oloa ki lila wawachi washdewa lake. Okay, very good. So let's dialogue. Yeah, let's do the first two sentences, just the first two. I will be person one, and you will be person two. So I will ask the question now. Daku wo oloa cha washtea la gahe. Very good. Now let's switch to parts. You be person one, and I'll be person two. You can ask me your question now. Poka wo oloa ki lila washdewa lake. Very good. And now let's go to the next set. And I will be person one. This is the third sentence. I will be person one, and I'll ask you the question, and then you answer me. Okay? So here we go. Daku wo oloa cha wayachi washtea la gahe. Very good. Now let's switch those parts. Okay, you be person one, and I will answer you. You can ask me your question now. Poka wo oloa ki lila wawachi washdewa lake. Very good. Very good. So, in these two sentences, they're basically the same, except that in the first two, we only have one subject verb. Yeah, this conjugation. And that is in this word washtea laka and washdewa lake. Yeah, these are called conjugations. They have a subject and a verb in the same word, and it goes at the end of the sentence or question. So look at the first person one. Yeah, washtea laka. Yeah, you like. It goes at the end. So the subject and the verb are in one word, and it goes at the end, just before he. And the same is true for the answer. We have washte walake, which means I like, which is a subject and a verb in the same word. And it goes at the end. It's the last word. Just a little bit of grammar here. Yeah. And now we look at the last two sentences. All we did was add one word, and that is, it's the same subject, but it's another verb. Wayachi, you dance. And in the answer, wawachi, I dance. And these are both conjugations in the question and the answer. In the question, it's wayachi washte alaka. Those are two subject-verb conjugations. They both have the subject ya, which is the middle of the word, and that means you. Yeah, this is the subject of those words, those conjugations, and the rest of the word is the verb. Yeah, wayachi comes from the word wachi, which means to dance. And washte comes from the word washtelaka, which means to like. So that's what the conjugation is. And there's two here, yeah, in this question. In the sentence is the same thing. It's just that it's I like and I dance, with wa meaning I. Wawachi, I dance. Washtewalake, I like. So when you have two of these subject-verb conjugations in the sentence or question, which one comes first? What do you think? Well, a good rule of thumb would be which one has action in it. Yeah, which one can you see? Yeah, like you can see somebody dancing, but you really can't see somebody liking. I mean, you kind of can, but you really can see when somebody's dancing. You see what I mean? Or running, or jumping, or falling down, or whatever. Usually, I like to call those action verbs. So those ones will come first, and then whatever's left comes after that. Okay, so when you look at that, yeah, the person one, the second one, where it says, "What kind of music do you like to dance to?" Look at the words wayachi, washdealaka. Wayachi, you dance. You can see that, yeah. It has action and movement, so that comes first. And washdealaka, not so much, so that comes second. You can't really see it too much. In some cases, you probably can, yeah, like when somebody's eating their favorite food, and you can see that. but in general, yeah. And the same thing for that person two answer. I really like to dance to polka music. Wawachi, I dance, you can see that, yeah. And so that'll come first. Washtewalake, I like. Again, you can't see it so much, so that comes second. That's a good rule of thumb. Yeah, when you have a sentence with two subject-verb conjugations, and don't let the grammar words throw you, okay? Listen to this video over and over so you get used to hearing those words, because this is really a really big key in learning how to speak Lakota, is conjugating. So I'm introducing grammar here and there, but I don't want it to overwhelm you. But it would be good to spend some time with any video where I talk about anything grammar. Just take some time to watch that part of the video several times to become familiar with it, and so it's not so scary. It's really going to help you when you are creating your own sentences, your own dialogues, or when somebody's talking to you. It helps you to understand them better as well. It's really a big part of Lakota language. And when you are mastering what these are, yeah? Well, wayachi, washtea laka, those kind of words. When you get good at that, Lakota language becomes really easy after that, okay? The beginning is difficult, as I said before, but once you get familiar with this conjugation process, it becomes more yeah? It's more familiar. So it's not so difficult. So just some points I'd like to share with you, okay? So again, whenever you want to ask any kind of question of what kind of something do you like, then you use this first person one, yeah? Where it says taku wo oloa cha washtea lakahe. You just use a different word where the underline is, yeah? You say, what kind of food do you like? Then the word for food is woyute, so you would put woyute in that underlined part. So you would say, taku woyute cha washtea lakahe. See, like that. So it's something to practice, yeah? What I think would be a good practice is to write like 5 to 10 sentences and write taku and then put an underline mark there and then write the word cha, then washtea laka, and then he. Okay? Write that 10 times. And then think of 10 things, 10 different things to put in the underline part. Yeah, what kind of cars do you like? What kind of TV shows do you like? Do you see what I mean? And then if you don't know the Lakota word for it, then just use the English. Yeah? What kind of clocks do you like? Hey. What kind of socks do you like? Make it silly, yeah? Because when you make things funny, it puts your body at ease, yeah? And your mind is more willing to soak this information up and stay with you, yeah? You comprehend it more. So it's a good idea to do that. Yeah, make some of these sentences funny. Don't put really boring ones down like, what kind of pencils do you like? Or maybe that's exciting to some of you. That's okay. So I would practice with that first one first. Yeah, the first 2 sentences here, just question and answer. Just practice with those first before trying the next 2. Okay? This is a very common thing to ask, especially when you're getting to know somebody. What kind of flowers do you like? That kind of thing. You see what I mean? So practice that. Yeah, this is a good way to learn something and use it. And then look at the answer. Whatever it is that that person likes or that you like, if somebody's asking you, you put that first, and then ki, then lila, and then washtewa lake. Yeah. So, for example, if somebody asked me, what kind of flowers do you like? The word for flowers, wachcha. So the question could be, Daku wachcha cha washtea lakahe. Then maybe I say, I like yellow flowers. The word for yellow is z. So I would say, wachcha z ki lila washtewa lake. I like yellow flowers. You see what I mean? So create exercises for yourself like that. And again, if you don't have a dictionary, I highly advise that you get one. I have a video on dictionaries, okay? And I will put that link in the first comment where I talk about dictionaries and how to find a good one, okay? So please watch that because it's a good idea to have a dictionary when you're learning any language. I invite you to come visit my website at wolakota7.com. You can see the address on the screen. And here you can learn about the books that I've written and also some of the services that I offer. For example, spiritual consultation and Lakota language lessons. And you can see the books that I wrote, and one of them, called Kea and Matho Stonehearts, I wrote with my wife. And if you would like to order these books or order any of my services, you can see all the information on the screen. And for more questions, please write to me at the email address that you see at the bottom right of the screen. I'd like to thank you all for watching my Lakota Language YouTube channel. And I hope you're getting information that can help you in learning the language. And the best way to learn Lakota language is to also learn the culture of the language, because a lot of the language rules are based on cultural and spiritual concepts. And if you don't know, I do have another YouTube channel that is based more on the Lakota spirituality and Lakota culture. And I'm going to put a link to that channel in the video description. So if you don't know about my other channel on Lakota spirituality, I invite you to come visit and check out the information that I have there. I got a lot of videos and also some songs, traditional songs and contemporary songs. Yeah, so I invite you to visit my other channel. Everything is a circle. There is no end. So that's why we say until next time, which in Lakota is Doksha Ake. And with that, I will catch you in the next video.